PS3 DRM kills digital games. So okay. What was the name of the guy who made that video? Hikori Mori.
Hikikomori.
Hikikimori.
Yeah, Hikikomori. Oh man, I'm forgetting the last part, but he's on YouTube.
Yes.
He goes under Hikikomori, and he was really informative. And this is some real bitter news.
This is some BS. All right. Oh, here he is. Okay,
there it is. Hikikomori Media.
Yeah, he's in here.
YouTube.
All right. So this is an article from IGN India, and I am surprised I did not see more reporting on this because this is huge. All right.
And here's the thing. This also extends to the PS4.
Yes, and we're going to talk about all that. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over what exactly is happening here. So I don't have to read this because I saw his video and I know exactly what's going on. So essentially what's going on here, but I'm going to post this article for you that want to read it, and go out, check out Hikikomori on YouTube.
But please try to simplify it.
Yeah.
I'm going to quote one of my favorite movies, Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
Explain it like you would a child.
Okay. So essentially what's happening is the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4 have a mechanism, DRM, which doesn't that stand for digital rights management or something like
Correct.
that? Yeah.
Correct.
Which is just a fancy way of saying like, we want to protect our IP, right? That's basically what it is. But it's done in a way that is anti-consumer. That's the problem about it, right? It's not a consumer-friendly way to do things, and that's been the main criticism over the years, right? So essentially what's happening is there's a DRM mechanic in the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4 where if your CMOS battery...
What's a CMOS battery?
All right, so I'm going to get into that. But let me explain the whole overarching thing, and then we'll break it down piece by piece. So if your CMOS battery dies and you don't have connection to the PlayStation Store via the internet, on the PS3, you cannot play digital games anymore. Your library is useless. And on the PS4, you cannot play digital games, and you can't play physical games. All right. So let's break down what this is. So a CMOS battery, if you open up your Dreamcast, right?
Or a Saturn.
You know how when you buy like an old Saturn or a Dreamcast, or you have an old Saturn or old Dreamcast, you haven't played it in many years, you turn it on and it tells you to set the date. You've had that happen to you, right?
Oh, it just happened to me this past week when I booted up my Saturn.
Okay. What that is the CMOS battery, which is like, you know those flat watch batteries? That's what it looks like. It's just like a flat...
CR2032.
Yes. When those die, your console loses the ability to track time. That is the internal clock battery for your console. So what's going on here is if your console cannot verify the time via the CMOS battery, or it cannot connect to the PlayStation Network to verify the time, your games don't work. All right? It's a way of saying, we don't know if this console is legit or not, so we're just going to block all games on it.
It pretty much bricks the console.
It bricks the console. So let's talk about why this is not good, why this doesn't make any sense. So for one, judging the time on a console, yes, it's important in a way because you want to be able to tell like, okay, you know, what is the current time right now? When were these games purchased? You know, I can see, hey, you know, this game was purchased on this date. That makes sense. Maybe it wasn't. Okay,
well,
maybe.
From what I understand, one of the major reasons behind the battery and also needing to connect to the PlayStation Network is trophies. Is to go ahead
Okay.
and keep a time tracking on trophies and make sure people aren't cheating for trophies.
Okay.
And they can't change the time when they achieve those trophies.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say it's basically a way to verify the time on you can do it on game purchases, trophies, all that stuff. And so that's their way of verifying it. And okay, that makes sense. Like you said, they don't want people to send back a bunch of false trophy information, right?
Correct. Like someone just got all the trophies ever.
Yeah. That's fine for trophies.
Yeah, exactly. But what if I want to play
A game that you
a
bought.
game? Yeah, exactly. Right here, Tales of Tales of Xillia.
Yeah.
I want to play that on my PlayStation 3,
Yeah.
which is only available on my PlayStation 3.
Yes.
So what if I want to play this 20 years later, my CMOS battery is dead, and there's no PlayStation Network to connect to?
Yes. You're screwed. You are screwed
And
at that
I
moment.
have the physical copy right
Yeah.
here. So what's the point?
So the point is that they're being a little too aggressive. They went too far with this DRM. It should not stop your consumer like client side ability to use your console. Yes, it should stop the ability to upload false data to their network. I get that. That makes sense, right? You don't want people hacking your network and sending false information. That's fine. You can use it as a mechanic for that. Nobody's saying you can't. But you should not shut down your own like device that you sold to someone in good faith that they would be able to use this device of their own free will. That's ownership, right?
Not only of their own free will, but when they want to use it.
When they want to use it, yeah.
So, I mean, I just this morning, I was playing on my original PlayStation 1. It's a fat PlayStation 1. It doesn't have the PSIO connector, but it's a fat PlayStation 1, and I was playing it. I just put in the disc, that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to connect to the internet, doesn't
No.
need to check the time.
No.
Just has to have the working, insides,
Yeah.
and you're good to go.
Yeah.
As well as a memory card, obviously.
Yeah.
But still, I'm afraid of the day that I try to do that with my PlayStation 3 or my PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 1 is what? Over 20 years old. We just had the PlayStation 1 Classic, right?
Yeah.
So that works like a champ.
Mhm.
I feel like the PlayStation 3, these newer generation consoles, I mean, the Xbox 360 had terrible issues at launch with the Red Ring of Death. And the PlayStation 3, the originals, I had the 60 gigabyte original that was able to play PlayStation 2 games.
And it died.
I had the Yellow Light of Death.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of moving parts to these newer systems. And who's to say, what might happen? But that notwithstanding, there's something that was already built into the system that's going to prohibit me from playing my games in the future.
Yes.
Whenever I want.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It does suck.
Especially when I own them. I own these games. I literally own physical copies of these games. I'm not talking about digital games because digital games, you technically don't own them. We've talked about this before. That's why Gio and I are predominantly more physical collectors, is because digital games, you only own the license to play the game.
Yes.
And that license can be revoked at any time.
Yes.
So, and it's just I don't know, what are the solutions? Did you find any?
Yeah. So one solution is that you can hack the firmware of your PS3 and it'll patch that out. It'll get rid of that. So if your CMOS battery dies or you don't have connection to the internet, you can still play your games.
And what's the con to that? That means that you can no longer share your trophy information.
Yeah.
You're no longer connected to the PlayStation Network servers.
Yeah. I think so. There's some firmware, like third-party firmware, which still allow you to interact with like their network in like a limited way. But I don't. Yeah, you're probably right. You probably can't update those things. So That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is you would have to, and I did this on my Dreamcast. I ordered a CMOS battery replacement kit, and I soldered it on there, and I just now it's like a simple swap in and out battery solution.
Oh, just like the Saturn?
Yeah, so I can just buy a new battery on Amazon and just plug it in, or go to the store and plug it in. But here's another thing: how long are these old batteries going to stay on the market? You know what I mean? Like we don't know. Like maybe in 10 years they just stop making these old batteries, and
You're
then
talking about like a post-apocalyptic future. It's like I need double A's.
yeah. So yeah, that's one issue, or that's one way. Obviously, I don't think there's any modding kits for batteries for the PS3 yet, most likely, in the PS4. It's usually
Not that
for
I know
older
of.
systems like the
But like,
Dreamcast.
like the Saturn
Yeah,
and the Dreamcast, they made what is it? The Rhea and the Phoebe?
yeah,
Who knows if those kinds of things are in the PlayStation 3 / PlayStation 4's future? And for those that don't know what a Rhea or Phoebe are,
yeah,
would you like to tell them, Gio?
yeah. So Araya and Aphoebe are called ODEs, optical disc emulators. And there's actually a gentleman on, he has a WordPress account, a WordPress blog where he sells these. He invented them. All right, he invented them. The cheap like ones you see online, those have been reversed engineers by like production companies in China and sold for like cheap profits. Those are not the originals. The originals come from this one guy. His name is escaping me right now, but I bought the original for the Dreamcast from him and the original for the Saturn, and it's essentially it emulates the disk drive, meaning you can throw the ISO, which is like a image of the disk, on a SD card, and then this ODE will read it as it's a real disk, and it'll play the game as if it's a real disk. It's a really cool breakthrough of technology, but dude, we might be like 10 years from anything from that on a PS3. I mean,
I
those
mean,
are,
even
yeah,
Sony is incapable of a reverse engineering the PlayStation
yeah,
3 to be capable of even played on the PlayStation 4 or
4.
PlayStation 5. You have to play them via PS Now via server.
Yes.
So the
It's not
PlayStation
easy.
3 was incredibly difficult to develop for,
Yeah.
and that's why it had a lot of issues out of the gate. And that's kind of one of the reasons why Sony doesn't, uh, what's the word, really take care of their PlayStation 3 back catalog.
Yeah.
Honestly, whatever was on the PlayStation 3, if it hasn't been re-released on more current generation consoles, it's locked to that
Yeah.
PlayStation 3,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons why it's so important to preserve it. It's
Hmm.
because it's like these other consoles, like the Saturn, where the games are stuck there
Hmm.
and they will stay there
Yeah.
unless you sail the high seas.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, in all honesty, we're years and years away from any kind of device like that. So I would say the main solution would be to hack your firmware, or to be like skilled enough to replace your CMOS battery. So um, now, with that being said, the PS4 is even worse because you can't even play your discs, and so that just turns it into junk at that point.
Well,
So
that's the same thing with the PlayStation 3.
no, you can play your discs. It's just your
No,
digital games.
no, even with your physical games, if your PlayStation 3 is unable to connect to the network and the
Hmm.
battery is dead,
Yeah.
the CMOS battery is dead, your physical games are also useless.
Are
I
you
just said
sure?
that. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm pretty
because
sure Hikimori said so.
oh, because
Don't
in the
take my word for
video,
it. I could be wrong. I
yeah,
could be
in the
wrong.
video, I remember him
But I could have sworn
saying,
that was it.
yeah. Either way, it's bad. Either it
Yeah.
doesn't look. Even if the PS3 can play physical and the PS4 can't, it doesn't matter. It sucks. Like we all downloaded a bunch of PS1 classics to our PS3, especially now that they're shutting down the store, and we want to be able to play them. So
I'm gonna do a shout out. Gaia Seed still available in the North American markets.
Yeah.
For the PlayStation Network. If you're not ready to sail the high seas just yet, if you want to play it from the PlayStation Network,
Yeah.
it's I believe $5.99 or $4.99. You have to actually search for it. It's
Okay.
not going to pop up just by looking at PS1, and they removed it unceremoniously from the EU markets.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that game, Japan only exclusive shooter. I'm a huge fan of shooters, and just saying this so people are aware
Yeah.
that these games are disappearing as we speak,
Yeah.
and no one knows the wiser, even before the closeout date of believe what is it, July again?
Yeah. So the PS3 and the PSP are July, and then the Vita is August, I believe.
August,
Yeah.
correct, exactly. So that game is again Japan only exclusive, selling for close to 500 on eBay.
Yeah.
You can get it for $5.
Yeah. Get it. So, and here I want to bring up another topic that Hikikomori brought up.
Mm.
Why buy a PS5 digital when they're doing this? You know what I mean? Like, if you have the potential to be locked out of all your digital games in the future, why even trust them to buy a PS5 digital? That's
I
a good
mean,
question.
yeah, that's a good question, but I don't think it's not so hard of an answer. It's not that hard to get there, and we can look at a friend of ours of the podcast, John.
Hmm.
He's very much into the digital future,
Hmm.
and look at all the games that we have surrounding us. Look at that arcade cabinet.
Yeah.
All these things take a lot of space.
Yes,
Saving space is huge,
it is.
especially depending on where you live.
Hmm.
That's one thing. Also, accessibility.
Hmm.
The accessible, just the fact that you can go ahead and play all these games at your fingertips, changing them at the fly, on a whim, however you want. That's much easier than, ooh, which game I'm gonna play. Okay, gotta get up, gotta get that, gotta roll out of the couch, gotta go to the closet, gotta see what's available. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, Open up the case, put it in,
So
wait,
convenience,
and yeah, definitely convenience, but
convenience.
also the fact that convenience in terms of speed, but also the fact that we are wearing down our systems
Yeah,
every time we put in a disk.
yeah, yeah.
Every time it's doing something extra, you're wearing down what it's meant to be doing.
And that's what those ODE devices are for. They're not designed for hacking. They're designed so that you don't wear down your disk collection. That's what they're designed for.
Well, not
In
just your disk collection, but also the systems themselves. And
Yeah,
consoles as it is, they're getting up there in terms of
yeah.
prices as well.
And the way to ethically use an ODE is you take your disk, you burn it to your computer, you copy the image, and then you load it onto the SD card in your console. That way, your console doesn't get the wear and tear of using a disk drive. You can
The
actually,
disk doesn't get the wear and tear.
yeah, and the disk doesn't get the wear. That's what it's for. So anyone who thinks it's purely pirating, no. These things are designed to keep things from
Preserved.
breaking down. Yeah, they're to preserve them. So, yeah, yeah, it's one of those things. If you're, I would say, if you're worried about it, if this is something that bothers you, you don't like it, you like complete ownership of what you purchase. You don't want someone telling you, "Oh no, you can't use that because, you know, we decided."
We set we
Yeah,
decided something or other,
yeah.
something arbitrary.
Then I would strongly suggest, rethinking getting any kind of digital console in the future. And I would strongly suggest looking at backing up. We talked about this last week. Back up your stuff. That's what I'm working on right now. I'm actually doing a video on it, backing up a fat PS3 hard drive and replacing it, and then re uh, uploading the data back to it.
I still need to order that hard drive. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, but lo and behold, one of the discs got stuck, and I couldn't get the hard drive out, so I had to order like a special plier that digs into the side of the disc, and I can screw it out. So I'm
Wait,
waiting on that.
a
Yeah.
PS3 disc?
No, the disk drive. It's in a little housing container, and one of the screws. Yeah, sorry, screw. One of the screws got lodged in there,
Yes.
and I stripped it. So I can't get it out. So I had to order a special plier to get it out. So that's what's holding up the video. I was trying to release it this week, but I'm waiting on that. So yeah, I would recommend, back it up, um, get a new drive that's going to last longer and have more space. Uh, you know, re-upload all your data from your backup, restore your backup, and then download all your games. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put out a video for that. That's what I recommend. So yeah, this is a bad issue, and Sony is not lost yet. They can redeem themselves. They can easily put out a firmware patch that will reverse this stupid decision on their part. I hope they do it. So if anyone from Sony watches this, which I doubt,
They
that
watch us all the time. What are you talking
yeah,
about? Jim
that
Ryan was tweeting at us the other day.
yeah. Or if you have constructive criticism for Sony, I would say, you can stop this, Sony. You can patch this out. You don't have to keep this in. You can make an update, let people download it, and get rid of this disastrous decision on your part.